Greetings! I hope you are ready for more IELTS learning. When you are getting ready for the IELTS exams, it is important to keep one important thing in mind. IELTS is just another examination. With the right preparation and study, you will have all the knowledge and skills to ace the test with flying colors. All you need to do is remain focused, calm, and composed during the exam. IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System, and it is considered a standard for testing English language ability worldwide. It identifies a candidate's proficiency in English language by judging him or her on its 4 sections: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. IELTS is jointly owned and managed by the British Council and IDP, which is International Development Programme. It is an internationally accepted measurement of one's proficiency in the English language. The exams are conducted at over 1,000 locations around the world on 4 different days of every month. Make sure you select a date according to your course of preparation. Reading, writing, and listening skills are the 3 of the 4 main focuses of this examination. Speaking skills are gauged by a certified examiner within 7 days before or after your examination date. We shall now discuss a few preparatory practices before taking the IELTS examination. Familiarize yourself with the exam. Before applying for IELTS tests and the examination date, you should familiarize yourself with the IELTS examination format and some samples. You can start by going through free sample tests available online on the official IELTS website, or by looking for them through a search engine like Google or Baidu. If you have purchased Father IELTS's complete access package, you can also access sample tests here on our website. This practice will help you to familiarize yourself with the examination layout and the nature of the questions that you will be asked. Once you know what types of questions will be asked and the examination pattern, you can begin your preparations with a planned approach. Generally, if one's English is good, it is advisable to start preparing a minimum of 2 weeks before the test date. Beyond what resources we have here at Father IELTS for sample test papers, examples of answers, and any other pertinent information on the exam, you can do some targeted Googling. Arrive early. On the day of your IELTS exam, you need to be sure that you wake up and leave home early to ensure you are not rushed and will have enough time at the test center to complete all the administrative requirements. You will need to go through the registration process and do the ID checks before the exam. It is important that you take the same ID which you used to sign up for the exam. For example, if you signed up with your driver's license, you will need to present it at the front, or else you will not be allowed to sit the exam. Getting to the exam center early will allow you to sit in the room and get calm and comfortable before the exam. Be prepared with your pencils, pens, erasers, and anything else you need for the exam. You should also have a positive attitude and confidence in your abilities to ace this examination. It is completely normal for you to feel nervous on the day of your exam, but you should not let it affect your test-taking abilities. It is important to take long, deep breaths and remind yourself that you are prepared and you will master the exam because of your English proficiency. Take your time and think clearly. Concentrate. Before, during, and after the exam, you should be focused on only one thing: how amazingly well you will do on these exams. When you are sitting the IELTS examination, concentration is key. You should read the questions carefully and be sure that your answers are direct and to the point. It is important to read the questions and look for any words such as like, other, but, and instead, because these words can completely change the meaning of a question. Be on the lookout for these tricky distractions. You should be equally careful while writing your answers, and be sure to write as clearly as possible. Your writing skills will be under careful observation, so it is important that you are precise with your answers. use correct spelling, and use proper grammar. Your answers should also be within the word limit, neither too short nor too long. Expect the unexpected. This old turn of phrase is applicable to almost any situation in life, and the IELTS exam is no different. When you enter the examination hall, you know what will appear on the test in front of you because of all the practice you have done. However, you don't know the exact content. When you are writing it, it is important to look for keywords in readings, patterns, trends, and changes in charts and graphs. You should always be focused, attentive, and alert while preparing for and taking the IELTS exam. It is best to practice with as many sample tests as you can, because these will show you the types of questions that appear on the exam and demonstrate how one question can be asked in several different ways. It also helps build your confidence, since you have some idea of what to expect in regards to the formatting. Plan of action. When you get to the examination room, you should have a plan of action already in mind. Practice tests can be used as tools to plan the way you will tackle the exam. Depending on your English proficiency and preparedness, you should start off with the section that you are most comfortable with. For example, you will need to have a plan of how you will write your responses, which will have the information you will include, relevance, and how you organize your ideas. When you are in the examination hall and you are taking the exam, you should carefully read the passages and any provided information. When we talk about how to approach the exam, one trick that is very helpful is to watch for important words and phrases. Then mark or underline them. This practice will reduce the time you spend looking for answers when answering questions related to the passage. Sometimes the questions can get tricky, and two questions may seem very similar to each other. Some questions can be confusing, but it is important to realize that they often have different answers. You should check the passage and look for unique words in questions, because this will help you in identifying the difference between the two. Every word counts. It is extremely important to pay attention to the word count limits set for the answers and realize that every single word you put on the paper will be significant. While answering the questions in the writing test, you should make sure that you answer them in paragraph form, where each paragraph should have its own subtopic. It is important to practice beforehand and figure out how much space your writing takes up on a page. This will help you understand how much space is required for 150 and 250 words at a glance, since you will not always have enough time to count the number of words in your answers. Make sure that you do not write your answers in bullet point format, because you will lose marks on the exam if your answers are not incomplete sentences. It is always important to be cautious of spelling and grammatical mistakes while answering the questions. So make sure that you should reread your answers when you finish. Time management. Time is one of the most precious resources in the exam room. It is important to take practice tests and time yourself so that you know how long you will need for each section. When you are in the exam room, it doesn't matter if you are only halfway through the exam at the end of the allotted time, because you will have to turn in the exam. Make sure you note the location of the clock in the exam room and sync your watch so you can keep track of time while taking the examination. Proper preparation and being aware of the time restriction will ensure that you have enough time to check your answers within the allotted time. It is advisable to wear a watch for the exam, but if you forget or you don't have one, there's always a wall clock in each examination room. Speak well. One of the most difficult sections of the IELTS exam is the speaking test. Using effective words, sentences, and the ability to carry on A good conversation will make it a cakewalk. This section of the exam generally consists of 3 parts. Conversations normally begin with an introduction. Your introduction with the examiner will be the first part of the speaking portion. In the second part, the examiner will give you a topic to speak about for 1 to 2 minutes without interruption. They will also give you time to prepare what you want to say about this given topic. The third part will be a deeper discussion with the examiner, which is usually related to the topic in part 2. Make sure you elaborate on your answers when you are speaking. You should not answer in a single word or a single sentence. For example, if the examiner asks you, "Why did you decide to take the IELTS examination?" you should not answer, "For college." You should elaborate and also tell him about the college you have applied to and maybe include a little bit about it. The examiner will be listening for detailed responses that elaborate beyond that direct question. The examiner might ask you closed-ended questions, but you should not answer them in just yes or no. Try and make it interesting, and make it an interesting conversation. If the examiner asks you whether or not you like fast food, you should respond with a simple yes or no. You should go beyond that and say something like, "Though I have had fast food in the past, I don't make it a practice of eating it often. It is unhealthy and fattening." Another word of advice is to not ask the examiners questions about themselves. Although it seems polite in a conversation to ask questions back and forth, the examiners are not there for conversation. The examiner is there to ask you the questions and give you the marks. Face pets. Yes, face pets. What is it? Well, it is simply a method for you to remember the points we discussed here to help you prepare for the IELTS test. F. Familiarize yourself. A. Arrive early. C. Concentrate. E. Expect the unexpected. P. Plan of action. E. Every word counts. T. Time management. S. Speak well. By keeping these valuable points in mind, you will be prepared and confident during your exam. See you next time.
Thanks again for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe. We have over 75 video lessons that were designed by an IELTS examiner who knows how to help you get the score you deserve. If you'd like to access more Father IELTS videos, more sample tasks, worksheets, and even use some of our practice exams, well, check out our full courses over on Udemy by clicking on the links in the description below. Those links will give you 85% off the full course price and give you full access to all of the materials we offer. I wish you the best of luck on your IELTS exam. See you next time.